Good morning. Welcome to Ameripolish Academy. My name is Gary Vital, and this is Greg Cabot, and I'm going to go ahead and switch it over to Greg.
I just want to thank everybody for being here this morning. We hope you had a happy Thanksgiving and everybody was safe throughout the holidays. We are really excited to do this for the third time this year. I know with all the changes that have been going on, this was kind of our way to improvise and continue bringing you guys a certifiable training. So if some of you are on that have been here before, we thank you for being back. And if you're brand new to this training style, we welcome you. A couple of things we do here is we've got this broken up into 3 different days. So today we're going to go over our first step of the SmartFloor refinement system, double zeros. We're going to show you how to put down our PG7K grout coat and then how to apply our 3DHS densifier. And because of the different points with those products that you would have to wait an hour for them to cure, we've kind of done some things here to the floor in advance to get you guys ready so that we don't have to be sitting and waiting and watching anything dry. So this portion, this first part, part 1 of 3, will be the shortest of our 3 episodes. And it's by design that way. Again, we don't want you guys to get uncomfortable sitting behind a computer, which is why we've broken it up into 3 days. I'll kind of go over that in my presentation coming up. But day 1 is today, the 1st of December. Day 2 is going to be the 3rd, same time, 9 a.m. And then the 8th will be a week from today, will be the 3rd episode. Anything else?
Yeah, before we really get started, just want to let you guys know, if you guys have any questions, we do have chat available. You got to be logged in. We are monitoring that, so we'll be able to answer that real time. Also, if we have any issues with the mic or video editing time, please let us know. We're always checking that. If we have any distributors online or any sales reps online or even the contractors online, to introduce you guys yourself so we know who's out there and other people know who are out there too.
Yeah, now would be a good time. On my end, it looks like our microphones, you guys can hear us okay. If you can give us a thumbs up or just a okay for in the chat, let us know that you can hear us before I get started with any presentation stuff. That'd be great. In the chat log, all you have to do is be signed into YouTube. There's no any preliminary stuff for that. You just be signed in, type into the chat, click enter, and we'll be able to see that in real time. So I'm going to wait for a couple minutes before we get started. If I don't hear from anybody, I'll just assume everything's working. I'll jump into a quick presentation, kind of go over everything we're going to be talking about today before we actually do some quote-unquote hands-on stuff or demonstrate some things for you. I guess in the meantime, Gary, do you want to explain why we did?
What we did was we're using our refinement system, our SmartFloor refinement system. So it is all wet system. It's a 5-step system.
Thanks,
Greg
John.
is going to get into the presentation. But we prepped this floor. We cut it once to open it up on this side, and this side has our PG7K. So you guys are not, sitting around on the computer and kind of watching paint dry. So this is cut to a double zero, 1 pass, and then we're going to cut this 1 pass to show you guys. And then we are going to put the PG7K down on this side, and then we're going to continue the process on this side. And just trying to speed up the process for you guys.
Okay, so I got a couple guys, John and Brian both said it sounds good, so I'm going to go ahead and jump into our presentation portion. It's just going to kind of cover some of the nitty-gritty details of the process and what we're doing, as well as show you where you can access some of this information after this video is offline. So I'm going to get into that. Should take only about 10 or 15 minutes, and then we'll jump right into hands-on demonstration.
While you do that, I'm going to go ahead and set up the machine and get ready for.
Okay. Jeremy, thanks for being on with us again. Okay, I'm going to switch us over to the screen share here. Get us into this quick presentation. So as I'm going, Gary's going to be monitoring the chat since I can't see the chat right now. So any questions, again, feel free to ask them. Gary's going to kind of be standing back here monitoring and looking for it. This is our first episode, so like I said, we're going to be talking about the initial cut, our grout and densifier. In the overview here, we'll be doing a full Ameripolish system, so that includes abrasives. It's cut up over the course of 3 1 to 2 hour episodes, all hosted right here on our YouTube channel. It's going to start at 9 a.m. Central Daylight on the 1st, the 3rd, and the 8th of December. Again, log into chat. If you can't log into chat and you're still viewing this, that's no problem. You're still going to be able to follow the links that I provide later in the video to register. The benefit of logging in is you just get to ask us questions and chat with us. So today is December 1st. This is episode 1. I know it's a little bit redundant here, but this is what we're going to be talking about is the SmartFloor Refinement System Double Zeros, the PG7K grout coat, and the 3DHS densifier. In the second episode on Thursday, we're going to cover the refinement system zeros, ones, and twos, our solvent color solve, and Sherlock dye. And then in the third episode, we're going to cover the final step of the refinement system, number threes, the SR2 stain resistor sealer, our G3 burnishing pad, and then proper maintenance with the SmartFloor maintenance system, which has actually taken an evolution here recently. And it will show you the new design for the SmartFloor pads that we'll be moving forward with in 2021. So you've heard me say it a couple times now, the SmartFloor refinement system. What is it? It is a full wet polishing system. It's a real simple and easy system to use. It is patented composite resin abrasive technology, all manufactured here in Lowell, Arkansas. And with that comes a lot of benefits and flexibility that because we manufacture every single one of our products right here in Lowell, we can really be quick to make changes or suit your certain needs. One of the bullet points on here is these pads can be made in any shape or size. So that's one of the things that is really good about us, that if you have a very unique machine, we can probably make this system suit your needs. So it's just a matter of communicating with us. Now, it is 5 steps, so I'm going to get into those 5 steps real quick. We have double zeros, zeros, 1, 2s, and 3s. The grit equivalents are on the right here, so the double zeros are roughly equivalent to a 40 grit. Now, these are all kind of rough equivalents because we make our abrasives a little different, but this is just in order to get you to understand what you can expect the outcome to be similar to when you use these steps. So today I have highlighted the double zeros because that's all you're going to see us use today. And then in episode 2, you'll see 0, 1, 2. Episode 3, you'll see 3. So I like this guide right here, something I came out with recently. It's on our social media pages as well as on our website under the SmartFloor system guide, SmartFloor refinement system guide, something similar to that in the tech doc section. That top bar right there, the standard process, double zeros densify, 0, 1, 2, dye, and 3s and seal is what you're going to see us do in this training. And then there's different things that you need to do if your concrete is very porous and soft. That's the second row there. And then the third row is if you have hard or dense concrete, it's going to be a little bit different as well. You're just going to change which densifier you use and when you apply it and similar things to that. But again, today's just the standard process to get you guys familiar with what we're using. Any shape and size is something I mentioned before. So here you have all the different ring designs, power trowel options. There's just all the different things we can do. I'm just going to read off some of the sizes we have here: 10, 12, 11, 13, 14, 15. All different shapes and sizes, all the way up to 20-inch, all the way down to 7-inch. And then those rectangles you see on the top right in this area where my cursor is, this larger rectangle is designed for a power trowel machine. So, zoom out here. This will go on your standard power trowel blade. There'll be 4 of them on a walk behind, or 8 of them on a rider, or if you have a 10-bladed rider, 10. This one here is a smaller one. This is for there's a couple of edger power trowel machines out there. And they have this little curve so that the edge of the walk-behind machine can actually ride the edge of whatever slab or wall you're up against. So you can get within 1/8 of an inch of a wall with this, so really unique. But we also manufacture abrasives for that. Here's a close-up of the pads when we're putting them on and off the machine. I'll try to hold them up to the camera just to get you guys a decent look at them. But this is what they look like. This diamond design here has actually changed. We changed it to, I think, triangles at this point. We're constantly trying to improve these abrasives in order to better perform for you guys. So if we're trying to, with this triangle design, we're trying to get the water to pass through more effectively and without drying out. So it's there's things that are a work in progress. How many square foot do the double zeros last? The double zeros are, it depends, if you're going to be using the rings on a traditional polishing machine like we will today, I think between 10 and 15,000 square feet is a safe bet, unless Gary wants to chime in different. I know we've had them last longer and we've also had them last fewer, so I think it's safe to say between 10 and 15,000.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And it really depends on the hardness of the slab too. I know certain regions have softer slabs, so densifying and hardening up the slab will actually increase the square footage. But 10 to 15,000 square foot is about average.
And another thing to add with these double zeros is they are pretty aggressive because they're wet. So we're able to cut through glue, mastic, and other things that you're going to find on renovation floors. So don't be shy with them. They have very strong capabilities. The only thing that this system really doesn't do well, and I'm not afraid to say, is cut flat. So that is a pro and a con at the same time. If you have a wavy floor, it's going to ride the contours of that floor and still give you a decent polish, but it's not going to cut it flat. So if you're looking for tooling to cut the floor flat, this is probably not it. But you can cut the floor flat using other tooling and then switch to this tooling just fine. So before we move on, I'll just kind of talk over the label on this pad. You got SmartFloor Refinement System. This GPR 11-3 is a product code. This 000123 is an effort to help you not mix up the pads, but the bolded out number. This is a number 3 pad right here. It's obviously an 11-inch. You got the Ameripolish logo, made in the USA, and then down here is a lot number so that if you were to run into some trouble, you can provide us with the lot number. We can match it to a batch that we have here at the office and help you troubleshoot without having to be there. We can start working on things that day. And if it does come to a point where you do need us to come out there, we can make that happen as well. Okay, so moving into our PG7K grout coat. The PG7K stands for Polishable Grout 7,000 PSI. It's a high strength cement that fills in small cracks, pinholes, and surface irregularities, and it readily accepts Ameripolish dyes because it's cementitious based. It's easy to use in a 2-to-1 ratio, 2 parts powder to 1 part liquid. When we mix it up, we're going to be looking for buttermilk consistency for fast and easy troweling, and it's really good for wet polishing. If you're dry polishing with this product, we're going to advise that you pre-wet the floor with a little bit of water so that the concrete doesn't just absorb the moisture right out of the product and reduce square footage. The reason why it works so well with our system is because our system's wet, so when we pull the tooling off the floor, the concrete's still holding that moisture in there. We just mist a little bit of water on and it spreads nice and even, and you'll see that here in a little bit, but that's why it's great for wet polishing. I'll quickly read off because we still acknowledge that some of you are going to be using a traditional grinding method and not our tooling. So I'm going to read here how to use our PG7K in a traditional process. Ameripolish PG7K may be applied at any time after the 80 grit metals and before the 100 grit resins. Applying before the 80 grit metals may result in grout being ground off and new pinholes being exposed. PG7K is difficult to remove after the 100 grit resins. Residual grout not removed by grinding and polishing may result in a cloudy floor. One of the things as well is if you leave this product clumped up on the surface for too long, then it can be increasingly difficult to remove as time goes on because it's going to bond and get stronger. I just saw a question come up. Did you see that, Gary?
No, I'm going to get back to that.
Sorry, it disappeared on me. Gary's going to find it real quick and he can answer that. I'll wait to move on.
What was it says how hard to cut dry.
I think
I talked about a PG7K. Usually 100 grit or 100 grit resins will cut it off if you guys don't leave it on more than 24 hours. Sometimes you might need a 80 grit or 150 grit metal bond if you put it down on Friday and come back on Monday. There's a trick I'll show you guys when we put it down to help to assist in cutting it easier.
Okay, moving on. Quickly talk about 3DHS densifier. Our 3DHS stands for 3D, 3 densifier at hybrid silicate, so a hybrid molecule silicate densifier. Reduces the surface dusting, it increases the slip coefficient, it's more stain resistant to liquids, helps with abrasion resistance, and I don't really like that bullet, easier to polish, but it does aid in the enhancing gloss and DOI readings after it's applied, so it's good for polishing. When to apply with the traditional method, I'm just going to read these off. It's pretty simple, just usually between 200 and 400 is when you want to apply this product. And there's more details if you are on our YouTube channel at any point in time. We do have a video on 3DHS to help cover that. I'm going to go through and read all these. The video that's on our channel is going to follow what I'm reading right here. For the traditional method. So perform main grind using up to a 200 grit resin or equivalent resin bond diamond. Remove all dust and debris using an automatic floor scrubber and fresh water. Allow time to dry. You do want the floor to be dry before you apply this product. Spray 3DHS with overlapping circular motions. Lightly use pad applicator fitted with an Ameripolish microfiber pad to spread evenly on the surface. Product does not need vigorous scrubbing and will not form a gel. As the product is absorbed into the surface, apply additional product as needed until the floor starts to reject the product. That's what we call what was the word I'm looking for? The SmartFloor refinement system is what we're going to be using, and we're going to be applying the HS. What you always do, whether or not you're using grout, is applying the HS right after the
double zeros.
Double zeros. Thank you, Gary.
And you know, even with a wet system with the 3DHS, if the floor is a little damp and there's no freestanding puddles, it can actually aid in pulling the densifier deeper into the floor. But it can't be, you know, drenched or puddles all in the floor. I like to try to dry it out where I have no discoloration in my joint lines. That's how I can tell to be able to put it down.
So we're talking about 3DHS, and that's the densifier that I think both Gary and I would recommend to cover for about 75% of all floors. Now there are floors that are very soft that need a different type of densifier, which we have 2DPL for, and then there's slabs that are very hard and dense where the HS is going to be a little bit, it's going to have a trouble penetrating. So we have the HSL. The L stands for low solids. That just helps for better penetration. And then for industrial dust proofing applications, or for those who like to use sodium silicate densifiers, we have the EcoHard MS and EcoHard MS Plus. For the processes that we prefer to use, we stay away from sodium silicate just because they do require vigorous scrubbing in, disposal of the residue, et cetera, et cetera. So HS, HSL, and 2DPL are all just spray and microfiber mop applications. But if you're looking for other densifiers with different types and you still want to stick with the Ameripolish brand, we do offer 5 different densifiers. And that is it for the presentation. So we're going to jump into grinding with the double zeros. We'll review any questions that you guys have before we get started, and just get going with the hands-on portion. So thanks for sitting through that.
Now we got that painful out of the way. So what we're going to do is outfit this machine. These are our GPR pads, and we got different sizes for different machines. This one we're going to use a Levine 20 for this, and we're going to use the 9-inch pads, just Velcros right on. Then we got 11-inch pads for the bigger machines. This is only for a passive planetary system or a planetary system with round heads. We do not have pads yet for like your Turcos, your Prep Masters, and your other machines like that. So Greg, if you want to show them that.
Yep.
And that is our new pattern, guys. And what Greg was talking about is with the pattern design, we've been doing a lot of research and development with it. And what we're doing is trying to keep the water within the system instead of just slinging it out everywhere. So we're trying to contain the water a little bit more.
So yeah, so this one is an 11-inch pad. As you can see, they're triangle designs, and the ones that I had put up on the presentation were previously diamonds. So with the research and development we've done, we found out that these triangles channel the water a bit better beneath the pad. This system is not only a wet system, but we encourage an abundant use of water. The more water you use with this, the better in terms of the outcome of the floor, the lifetime of the tooling. All around, water is really, really good.
It's always good practice to use a little bit of water, even though the machine is producing water. If you're seeing it drying out because of the softness of the concrete or other elements of the, hot out, I always recommend misting water in front of the leading cutting edge of the machine. So there's different ways, guys. I'm going to be doing the S method, I guess, where you go down, turn around, come back, and kind of a snake. There's guys that do the push down and pull back. What I mean by the leading edge is, add a little bit of water to the front if you're pushing forward. If you're pulling it back, add a little bit of water to the back. With this machine, the water unit's not working very well. So what we're going to do is actually use a water hose on this application. We're on this class. And then we're going to go from there and overlapping it. And each set is a 2-pass system. So if you're pushing it down and pulling it back, that's equivalent to 2 passes. If you're doing the snake motion, I guess, that's 1 pass per direction. So cross hatch it if you guys are doing it that way.
And just because I saw a couple people jump on, I just want to shout out Craig Simon, Performance Floors Nashville. We appreciate you being on. And for those of you that are just jumping on now, just to give you a rundown of why the floor looks different, on the right side of your screen here, my left, we've already applied PG7K yesterday. We've cut the floor open with a 00, 1 pass, then applied the PG7K, and that's something important to point out. Gary's only going to do 1 pass here on the left-hand side of your screen. In order to open the floor up with the 00s, we're going to apply the PG7K and let it dry. And then because it takes about an hour to dry, we're not going to make you guys sit here through that. We're going to flip the machine over, cut off the PG7K over here, which would be the 2nd pass, and then we'll apply the densifier.
Sounds good. Anybody got any questions yet before I fire up the machine? Do you have edger pads that match grit? Yes, we do. Yep. We actually have it in the power trowel line and also in the hand grind line. So we do have edging pads for it. I'm going to go ahead and turn my mic off so the machine isn't overriding it.
My mic's still going to pick up the machine. It's going to get pretty loud here.
Okay.
That's okay. You guys can still ask questions. We'll do our best to answer them. And this shouldn't take but a couple minutes for Gary to do this side here.
One unique thing about this, you can actually move a little bit faster even though it's a lower grit. You're still going to do a slow pace. I run this machine full throttle when I use the Lavina. Now the HTC machine that we have over there in the corner, I kind of follow suit with my regular dial speed on it. So, the lower grits, I'm at a 4, and then I kind of work my way up. Good thing about this machine, it doesn't leave a heavy scratch profile either. So if your turn's a little bit faster than normal, what happens, you don't get the heavy gouges out of the floor. Or if you got the bird bass or the high spots, you don't get those rogue scratches with the floor. So this is actually a more user-friendly system. But like Greg was saying, there's limitations with it. It doesn't cut the floor flat, and it goes along the line with our DOI of the floor. Our maintenance pads sustain DOI, so it kind of follows suit within our whole system there. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing fired up and get this knocked out.
Just to touch on what Gary just said, our pads don't have any resin transfer, so that's why we're gonna get DOI, distinctness of image, but gloss will be pretty limited, which is okay, because and not in the sense of the floor won't be shiny. The floor is gonna be very shiny. I have a couple different ways of showing that on the stream here for you guys. So it's just the way our technology is designed relies on the DOI reading rather than the gloss reading, which in turn, because of our maintenance system, acts for a much longer, better longevity for your floor. And I want Southern Industrial Supply out of Nashville. We got a couple people from Nashville today, so shout outs to Nashville for being with us.
Yeah, and he said that the gloss on it, we should range in about 35 to 45 on the gloss meter. So within a lot of the specs, we're still hitting that, but we're really picking up the clarity. You can actually see the light bulbs in the ceiling when you're looking straight down at your feet. So that really sets it off there.
And I will be taking pictures, and whoever sets up the registration link at the end of the episode, I'm going to share a photo file with you kind of to get a better look before and after of what we're doing here. So
sounds good.
Go ahead. RPM required by steps on the machine? I will answer that question as soon as Gary is finished with this step, so I don't have to yell over the machine. Good.
Are we full?
Yep, we're full. Kamar, MDC, San Antonio, thanks for being on. Is a RPM required by steps on the machines? We don't have an RPM requirement. On the Lavina 20 that we are running here, we noticed that it runs better at as wide open as the machine can go, so the highest RPM it's capable of. However, on the HTC, I think it's a 6 or 7 that we found works.
Actually,
What we've always said is just run like normal. So at whatever you're used to doing, you can use our grit equivalent chart to kind of figure out where each grit lies. Your 00 is a 40, your 0 is a 100. So kind of use that as a guide and just stick to the typical RPMs that you would run.
yeah, when it comes to RPMs, it really doesn't, I haven't found where it changed a whole lot until you get into the power trowel system. When you get into the power trowel system, then the higher the RPM, the better. You don't have. He went to go empty the auto scrubber. Oh, we'll use that other vac.
I was going to say, where's the other vac?
Yeah.
Where is the other one?
It's over there. Let's get the PG7K down and I'll grab it.
Okay.
We'll clean this water up in a little bit.
Arc Supplies, Mitch from Arc Supplies in Alabama. We appreciate you being here as well.
Now, one thing we did not bring up yet, and we should have already, but we recommend using the Mohs hardness test before your first cut and after your first cut. And then, I mean, that's just an indicator. You know, we recommend anything over a 3.5 with our system. If it's lower than a 3.5, then you might have to densify your floor to harden it up before you get on it. We just found that works the best and gives you the best floor possible.
And so I'll be sure to bring out that Mohs hardness test for the second episode for those of you who may not be familiar. I could at least show you what it looks like. I think it's about $100. We have a couple distributors on here that may sell one. AVCOR Construction and Specialty Coatings in Heber Springs, Arkansas. Thanks for being here, Chris.
All right.
Okay. Ready?
I'm ready as it can be.
Okay. So guys, our PG7K, actually I think starting 2021, we're gonna switch the bag it comes in. It currently comes in a 45-pound bag. We're gonna switch that to a 20-pound bag. Just price is just gonna reflect about the same. It's not gonna change too much in terms of the amount of product you're getting. Reason why we're doing that is because there's no way to mix all that product up together, so it's just for easier handling. What we have here is a PG7K sample kit. So this is the 2 parts powder to 1 part liquid. It's really easy for us to mix up and demonstrate here. This product goes about 5,000 to 7,000 square foot for a 45-pound bag to a 2.5 gallon. So for the 20-pound bag, we're going to be looking at 2,500 to 3,000 roughly. So just a couple of things that are changing them. So forgive me, I'm still learning as well. I'm just kind of going off the top of my head. But we're going to use this sample kit. As you can see, the floor is still a little bit wet over here, which is great. We might have to pre-wet it in some of the areas that it's drying out. We want the floor to have a little bit of moisture in it before we put this product down, so that the floor doesn't just suck the moisture right out of it. We want it to spread nice and even. So.
One thing we have, it's a cement-based grout coat. The reason why we chose to go with that is because it accepts our dye. There's some good grout coats on the market, but not all of them accepts dye consistent. So we went with a cement-based grout coat, where we manufactured a cement-based grout coat, so it can actually take color as the rest of the floor does too.
Good to mix?
Yep, go ahead.
All right. So I'm just gonna, because this white container already has the powder in it, I'm just gonna dump the liquid right in. I've got one of these little mixers on a drill that's kind of the most effective way to mix it. If you mix it by hand, it's just going to get clumpy. We're going for that buttermilk pancake batter.
Nice. When it comes to the best practice, I try to put it down at the end of the day, go home, come back within the 12 hours. The longer you can let it sit, the better it's going to be. Just like our densifier.
Okay, so I've got it to a point where most of the clumps are out, and of course I made a mess, but it's kind of part of the job. So now once you have this mixed, your pot life on this is only 10 or 15 minutes. How bad does it shrink? It's
I haven't seen it shrink. Now, if you're going with some bigger holes, you can add a little bit of sand to it, and it'll keep it from shrinking.
Yeah, actually, we do have our video on the YouTube channel where we use this product and add sand to it. Is the edge tint video. We were filling some carpet tack strip holes, and it's a cool little video to watch. But on there, you can see how we actually changed the mixture, added a little bit of sand in order to fill those holes that were quarter size or bigger. But as far as shrinking, you don't really get it on the smaller pinhole scenarios. So
let's go ahead and pour a ribbon out.
You want a ribbon or a blob like we did yesterday?
Yeah, let's go ahead blob.
Okay, we used to say pour a ribbon, but me and Gary were kind of playing around yesterday. I'm just going to pour a blob and let him work it out with the trowel.
And no comments about my troweling skills.
And it may be hard to see on the camera. I'll get some pictures of it on my phone. But because the floor is still wet, this product's spreading nice and even. I've barely used any of the sample kit container here, and we've still got plenty to do this little area. So,
too much water in that one.
We run CPS equipment. Which RPM would you recommend running the double zeros? Done some mock-up, running everything wide open with good results, but not a full floor until later this month. Christopher, actually, if Jeremy's still on here, I know recently Jeremy has done a demo with a CPS machine and had really good success. I personally have not used a CPS machine, so I can't say. I could take a guess, but I'm going to give Jeremy an opportunity to respond to that, because I know his demo, he has pictures, it was exceptional. So I'm going to see if he's still on, if he can answer that.
Go ahead, pour some more right there.
Of what we have here at the office, which has been Lavina, HTC, and I've run a Husqvarna as well. But as long as the head attachment on your machine has some version of a Velcro head attachment, the white pad will stick to it. So there should be no issue as long as you have that Velcro attachment. And for Chris, I'm glad Jeremy's been able to help you out. His comment is, he said run it wide open through the entire system, moving the machine a little slower on the grinding sets for 00 and 0. Appreciate that input, Jeremy. And so and for the PG7K guys, that's pretty much it. I mean, I maybe used 25% of this sample kit. So, you know, I've got a handful here. I'm just gonna put the seal on about 10 or 15 minutes. It'll harden up, so. Gary, are you familiar with the ASL machines?
I am not.
So I apologize about that. Neither of us know much about the ASL, but as long, again, like I said, as long as you have a Velcro head attachment, we just need to know what size that is, whether it's a 10, 11, 13 inch pad, and we can suit that machine. So,
but I'll actually look it up and see if I have any.
Yeah, once at the end of the episode, once you submit your information, we'll be able to get back to you. We'll look up the machine and let you know whether or not we can find something on our end that and say yes, it is going to work.
I'm gonna set this up real quick if you
Yep.
want to.
I'm just going to take some pictures. No problem. Okay, so that is the PG7K application, and you know, fairly simple. Gary's just running the vacuum to clean up some of the excess water from earlier, and just to get that cleaned up. Then the next part is, you know, imagine 45 minutes goes by and this dries, and that's where this side of the floor is at. If there is any questions or anything that anybody has about anything they've seen, I'd be happy to answer that while we wait just a couple minutes here. Okay, need a little bit more hose.
Do what?
Craig, I'm not sure which color matching you're talking about. I'm not sure if you're talking about color matching with dye or if you're talking about why the floor is different colors. If you could just clarify that. I just want to answer that question before we move forward. This part of this, without. I guess, Gary, if you want to quickly talk about color matching dye, just.
Oh, color
cracks.
matching the cracks. We do not have anything for cracks, but we have different manufacturers out there. High Tech, McGuire. They all color matched our products. So you'll have to get with one of their reps and check out their.
So we don't actually sell any joint fill or crack repair.
Correct.
That's up to the companies that specialize in that. It's just something we haven't gotten into. High Tech is another one.
Yep.
And they know our color system, and we have good relationships with all of them. And if there ever is a color that needs matched, we can do that for you.
Correct.
So it's just a matter of getting in contact with them. So next thing for us, remember we've already done one pass with the 00s over here. We applied to PG7K, and then we will be switching over to, this will be the second pass with the 00s to get it ready for densifier. And Chris just shared with one of the High Tech reps contact information, so appreciate that. Thank you very much.
While you do that, Greg, I'll go ahead and set up the densifier and the sprayer.
Okay. Okay, so we just vacked up all the slurry there. One thing we didn't mention earlier, which I think it's safe to mention, is that we do recommend that you clean up your slurry after every step, especially double zeros and zeros. Even ones is going to produce quite a bit of actual concrete slurry. So to get that off of there so that there's nothing, maybe sometimes you can be in a warehouse and a screw or some piece of metal breaks off and is in the slurry. We don't want that to get picked up and scratch the floor without you knowing. So it's always just best practice to clean the floor of the slurry in between each and every step. Just to show everybody which densifier we used. The 3DHS, try to hold this up here. Maybe you guys can see it. It's the HS, so this is the one we used today. We just filled it in this little demo sprayer. And the idea is to keep the floor wet for 10 to 15 minutes or to the point of rejection. So I'll spray it, Gary's gonna microfiber, and we're just gonna try to get it to the point of rejection. We have to keep in the back of our mind that this is the demo slab we've used. Oh, you're good.
All right, so we put it down at after the double zeros. We typically don't go up any higher than that before we put it down. If you get in your ones, twos, and threes, it's not going to cut the densifier film off with that step.
It'll actually make the densifier can make the ones and definitely will make the twos skate just across the surface and not do what they're supposed to do.
But if you're trying to do a cream polish, and I know a lot of people like to do a cream polish because it's requested by the customer, they don't want to show no rock or no aggregate. So we do have people that start off with our zeros, but if you're doing that, just like our PG7K, we recommend doing the first cut of zero, densifying it, and then cutting again with the zero. Yep. To remove it. Now when you're using it on a traditional polish, the concrete's going to really dictate when you put it down. You know, we try to no higher than a 400, but there's been times where you're going to have to densify in the lower grits to even get it to be able to polish. So that's, you know, the key there is reading the concrete, knowing what the concrete wants. Need to make sure that to the point of rejection. When we say rejection, if you spray the densifier down and it dissipates right away, you need to put more on it, because what's going to happen is if you put SR2 on the floor, it's going to drop right through the floor. You put SP on the floor, it might drop through the floor. So now you guys are not getting the full stain resistant as you guys should be getting. So we want to make sure we put it down to the point of rejection. And like we say, you'll notice it right away when you start spraying it, and if it dissipates, add more to the area. Now if it's taking too much, what you can do is you know, spray it down and then come back, wait an hour and spray another coat. Or what I like to do is spray it down, wait an hour, hit it with the next grit, and then I apply it again. Now hold the densifier close to the surface.
Right. Brian with Bay Equipment, nice to have you back with us again. Always a pleasure.
So we're going to pre-wet the microfiber mop. Then he's just going to start in circular motions, and I'm just going to come back and smooth it out and make sure there's no freestanding puddles. Kind of let them get ahead a little bit so I'm not overworking them. One of the questions I get asked a lot too is if there's a spot way out there and you got to walk on it, you can walk out on it. But when you do, make sure you walk yourself back out with your microfiber and watch where you step. If you're stepping on a finished floor, you can leave densifier on the floor. So just be careful where you step. Spray a little bit up there, please. And there should be constant communication between the applicator and the sprayer. If he needs a little bit more, you know, he can dictate how much goes on the floor. Or if there's too much, he needs to back off the sprayer a little bit.
Fortunately for me and Gary, we've done this a few times, so.
1 or 10 times. Another too is, does it streak? No, it does not streak if you don't leave it in there. Where the streaking comes in, if guys are trying to pull it too thin, same with our sealers. If you're trying to pull it too thin and you pull it out and leave that, it is going to streak on you. But the product itself, it's not going to, unless you dry streak it. Or if the floor is very, very dirty.
Yeah, so what Gary's saying is if we're applying the product over here and I stop spraying and then he takes a microfiber mop and drags it all the way over here trying to make the product stretch, that wherever the floor hadn't had the product pre-wet and sprayed on, it could potentially leave a dry streak mark. So that's what we're trying to avoid.
And cleanup is just use water. Microfiber pads can be reused. Just make sure they're clean and dry out and don't harden up.
So at this point now it's just a waiting game. We're going to wait for this densifier to dry. We're not going to make you guys wait for the densifier to dry. This pretty much is what we want to show in this first episode. When we come back on Thursday, me and Gary are going to take the rest of this side and bring it up to match this side. So you guys are just going to be right in. We're going to pick up right where we left off. Don't sign off right now. I'm going to provide the registration link so you guys can let us know that you were here. Again, once you complete the registration link, you'll just do that every episode, 1, 2, and 3. If you complete all 3, we'll be able to write you a certification, which is redeemable when you get into an architect situation who specs our product and says you need to be Ameripolish certified. This will suffice for that. So again, we're just letting this dry. We're going to cut this off, put densifier to match it to this side, and we're going to pick up where we left off.
No, hopefully next year we'll be able to bring people in finally. We got this new building here, new setup, new classroom. We'd like to show it off to you guys. So hopefully sometime next year we can actually have people come in and see our facility, do a little tour, and do our training class.
Yeah, and that's what you guys see behind us is kind of our seating section. We obtained this building right before COVID, so we haven't really had the opportunity to bring too many people in here, especially in a classroom setting. We're hoping 2021 is going to bring us that opportunity again and do a hybrid situation where it's kind of half online and half in person. But everyone who's communicating and asking questions makes this go a lot easier for us, and it's a lot better for you because we get to share some of the knowledge that we may or may not think of while we're just standing here.
And I know the Ameripolish reps are still out traveling to certain states, but they're being cautious about it. But if you guys can reach out to them at any time too, and if they're comfortable enough or able to come see you guys to do a live demo for you guys at your facility or on your job sites, feel free to ask any of them.
Yep. So I'm gonna step off screen and get this registration link up. Give everybody about 5 minutes or so to sign up to that. We'll switch back over, say our goodbyes, and wait till Thursday. So just give me 1 second here.
Sounds good.
So this is the registration link. I am going to have a hyperlink come over to you, so just hang tight for a second. Copy. John, I'm glad you could be here and receive some of it. So that's the hyperlink right there. You guys can just click that. It'll ask you a few questions. You submit your information, and that'll basically be one of 3 And we'll hope to see you back for 9 a.m. on Thursday. We're going to go over zeros, ones, twos. We're going to do some die. So definitely Thursday is going to be a little bit more exciting than today. But and also when you sign up for today, I'm going to share some of the pictures I took, which again, not too exciting today, but at least hopefully they'll be in a higher resolution, so give you guys a better idea of what you looked at. I know the video is not always perfect. So, and the other thing is we hope that you see things that you want to try and are willing to give a shot now that you've seen the video and feel comfortable.
And if there's anything you feel that we can do better in our training classes, feel free to shoot comments to us. We're always looking to improve what we do for you guys.
Absolutely. And Southern Industrial, we appreciate you being here. We know vendors especially are always busy, so just giving us the time of day to stop by and learn some things is awesome. So we hope to see you back on Thursday as well. I'm going to just leave this screen up here for a few minutes. If you do have any lingering questions, we're monitoring the chat still. We'll answer what time to come back on Thursday, and we'll be good from there. So we'll just wait to see if you guys have any more questions for today. Take some pictures.
Greg, this is a question for you.
I'm sorry.
3 of us watched. Do we need to fill out from?
If 3 of you watch, just share the link amongst yourselves and I can certify all 3 of you. I can also just certify Equity Painting of Cleveland, Ohio if you want. It's more of what you would like. In my opinion, I would prefer to see that 3 individuals on your team have the certification. Makes me feel a little bit better for if we ever get into that situation and then we know that more than just one of you participated, because a lot of times just one guy participates, he's the only one with the certification and that's enough. But it's really good to hear that 3 of you are sitting there together. So if you guys are just on your phones, you can just get on your phone, hop on YouTube, look at the video and click the link and fill it out for yourself. That'd be awesome. Okay, you have 4 people. That's great. Just do the same thing if they have phones or if you guys need to sign up independently. Again, it's totally up to you, but I'd love to see 4 people instead of 1. And that it's one of those things that it lets us know that a bunch of you guys were there. And if you can't, the other thing you could do is just fill it out for 1, and then I'll recognize you guys on here and make sure that I find out whose names to fill out for the certifications. So one way or another, I'd like to get all 4 of you and all 3 of you from Equity Painting certified. Sorry about that. I just once again wanted to kind of wrap things up here. I'm going to hang out just to answer any more questions that might come up just for another couple of minutes. But that's pretty much all we had for you guys today. And again, 9 a.m. on Thursday the 3rd. We'll be right back here. We're going to pick up where we left off. We're going to do some more cutting, add some dye. And then on the 8th, on our 3rd episode, we are going to finish the system. And then we have a little something extra for you guys at the end of episode 3. So that'll be pretty cool.
Now, Thursday is going to be a little bit longer video because we got dyeing and then bringing it up.
Yeah.
So it might be a little bit longer. We're not going to try to bore you too much dragging it out. So we're looking at about an hour and a half to hour 45 tops.
So we hope that's a comfortable time for everybody. We know that sitting behind a computer is not always that much fun. So we try to kind of get back to you as fast as I can on those. And we will just talk to you from then. So until then, hope everybody has a good day, and we're looking forward to seeing you back on Thursday.
Thanks for watching.